Mr. Blair? Mr. Chancho? Mrs. Grosh? Mrs. Gutierrez?
Here.
Mr. Hall?
Looking for a motion to move to executive session.
I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District meet in executive session pursuant to Section 24-6-402 4B Colorado Revised Statutes for the purpose of a conference with the district's legal counsel regarding specific legal questions pertaining to Highland Hills Park and Recreation District, a Colorado quasi-municipal corporation and political subdivision of the state of Colorado versus Sandbagger, Inc., doing business as Chancho's, a Colorado corporation, Donald C. Chancho II, and as director, and Donna Charbonneau as director.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? So vote on holding the executive session. Nicole?
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Chancho?
I'll stay.
Mrs. Grosh?
Yes.
Mrs. Gutierrez?
Yes?
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Don, were you planning on joining the executive session? No? Okay, so the meeting is now going to go into recess while we hold executive session upstairs in the boardroom. We hope to return as soon as possible.
All right, good evening. So it's my pleasure tonight to introduce Haley Pepe, our Waterworld Assistant Operations Manager. So I had so many good things to say here, I had to take some notes. So I'm going to glance down on occasion here. But in addition to overseeing our park attendant team, covering for each of our team managers during their days off, and administering to our certified autism program, Haley is also our advocate for team engagement. So this has been one of the big initiatives that she has taken on. And I'm extremely proud this evening to share with you this accomplishment for both Haley and for our Waterworld team. IAPA, which is the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions, represents over 6,000 members from around the globe, representing amusement parks, water parks, museums, and zoos. So we keep good company as members of IAPA, such as Walt Disney, big brands, big entertainment brands. There's a lot of folks in this organization. On March 3rd, Haley traveled to Las Vegas for the IAPA Honors Program to accept a Brass Ring Award for Human Resource Excellence for the Waterworld Lead Go program. Waterworld partnered with and accepted this award alongside our key partner and leadership guru, Sean Welch of the Sean Welch Company, for this innovative program, which helps Waterworld keep our seasonal leadership team engaged, growing as leaders, and providing the best possible park experience to our team of over 1,000 young water park team members. Haley's enthusiasm and vision for implementing this program and for making sure that it was rolled out successfully to our team has been the key to its success. I have personally witnessed Haley running after leads and being like, hey, have you done your lead go? So sometimes you can't get out of the parking lot without Haley making sure that you've done this. So I appreciate all of her attention to that. So thank you, Haley, and congratulations to you and to the Waterworld team for this amazing accomplishment, for your contribution and dedication to making summer's best memories for our guests and team members even better. So what a great accomplishment. Thank you. Not done yet. Yeah. Do you have anything you'd like to add, Haley?
Nope, I am okay.
Are you sure?
I am
Okay.
I don't know how long you get to take that home and put it on the mantle until you have to bring it back.
Honestly, I feel like I didn't. This is all Sean Welsh. I was just kind of there to help program it at Waterworld, but it's an awesome program. So
She was, and she's being awfully modest here. She was a big part of making this program a success. So we'd love to take a picture if the board and Yvonne would like to come on down. Haley, I'm going to give this to you. So make sure you turn it the right way, though. Thank you, sir. So, yeah, I am so pleased to introduce another team member this evening that has been doing extremely good work and doing good things for Waterworld. So I'm going to have Sherry Duran come up. And JR, you're not off the hook, but I'll give you a few minutes to sit down. How's that? So, again, very pleased to have Sherry here again with us tonight, making great things happen not only for Waterworld but for the district. And I believe many of you have met, but in case you haven't, I'll reintroduce Sherry Duran, who is our Water World Security Manager. Sherry has been extremely busy with security planning activities and initiatives throughout the district, including EAP planning, facility safety analysis, park ranger program planning, and Water World security operations. Sherry successfully planned and executed our multi-agency and large-scale active shooter drill in spring of 2023. It seemed like it's been a year already. On the heels of last year's exercise, Sherry coordinated and executed the second stage of our overall Waterworld emergency preparedness, which took place on April 23rd. Picking up where we left off with the last event, this year's drill was focused on reunification, specifically the processes surrounding staging guests as they evacuate the property, and the logistics of reuniting separated children and parties, which would be a major undertaking should the park ever need to be evacuated. When we left off with our exercise last year, I think from a staff perspective, we all realized, okay, this was good, but wow, what happens next? And I think our minds kind of went to, hey, picturing all the kids and parties that would need to be reunited. So with that, Sherry researched and planned the event, including specific assignments for every participant in the functional area of the drill, and incorporated, and I'm going to use some security lingo here, ICS, which is Incident Command System, and NIMS, which is the National Management System requirements. There were countless hours of meetings with agencies, writing documentation, and planning. The drill featured 100 Future Forward students who volunteered to role play as our separated children, all from the Adams 12 five-star schools. Sherry recruited over 70 community volunteers to act as parents and in other roles. And we had some folks that were really good parent actors. So they did very well with that. Sherry engaged active participation, planning, support, and collaboration from the following agencies and resources, which I'm going to list alphabetically. So the Adams County Sheriff's Office, and specifically Sergeant Travis Wilson, Adams County Victim Advocates, Adams County Office of Emergency Management, and that's Ron Stigman, the American Red Cross, City of Federal Heights Police Chief Bob Grotto, City of Federal Heights Fire Chief Mark Mahoney, City of Federal Heights Victim Services, City of Lakeside Police Chief Carl Ballard, City of Thornton Police Lieutenant Daniel Wilson, City of Thornton Victim Services, City of Westminster Police Lieutenant Drew Smith, Jefferson County Public Schools Emergency Management, and the Mapleton Public Schools Security Director Daniel Jimenez. So a lot of folks, again, involved in this process. Our entire Highland Hills leadership team, along with all of the Waterworld full-time team members, also fully participated in this event, which was about 3 hours, I think, from start to finish on the main part of it. So with that, I'm going to have JR come up as well. I want to take a moment to recognize J.R. Bernanzoni, Waterworld General Manager, who played an integral and very large role in this exercise, leading all aspects of reunification. He jumped into this exercise, which is new territory for us water park folks, and led this team through the role-playing process. To say he was under some pressure is an understatement, and we appreciate J.R.'s contribution. We are in the process of collecting feedback from everyone who participated. So far, this process has provided insight and meaningful feedback on what was learned, what went well, and the most important part of this all, what did not go well, what we didn't understand, and what we would change in future exercises, or should we have to implement this in real life. The lessons learned will be applied as we move forward into all of our Highland Hills facilities. So with that, we're extremely appreciative of the hard work put into this exercise by Sherry, JR, our partner agencies that I mentioned previously, and our entire Highland Hills team who took a lot of time out of their day at a busy time of year to participate in this. So just very grateful, and a big thanks to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a question.
Okay, sure.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
What were the biggest takeaways that you had? What did you guys go, wow, I'm glad we did this because we wouldn't have known that this?
Right. I think some of that would be
So we have so many, if something were to happen, we would have so many kids that we need to reunify. So with the paper, we used paper. So we learned that our paper is too long, like our questions, because we don't have school lists. So we have these other challenge questions, and that may be too long and slow the process down, especially on a large scale. And with all the paperwork that we have, we should have someone that's inputting that, so that way if a parent picked up a child and the spouse didn't know that, or the other parent didn't know that and showed up, it would take us forever probably to go through all of that paperwork. So that's one thing I think would be very beneficial, is to just have an iPad there and input all the names so we could just search. So I thought, so far, we've got some pretty good feedback. There is a challenge because we're not a school. We have no idea who these children are, and just trying to make sure that we're placing the right child with the right parent. Because I know, in my mind, I could see an opportunist come and try to take a kid that doesn't belong to them. So I think we have to do our due diligence to make sure we're reuniting the right children with the right parents. So that's some things I've learned. Bob, did you? Or JR?
You know, there's plenty of developments out of it. There's going to be some changes in the plans, of course, but there's crowd control. There's communicating with the crowd, especially when the parents are going to show up. We didn't really have any verbiage really set in stone. It's all about getting us organized too, a little bit more. Runners, there's so many different tasks involved that when this did occur, there's, a certain people giving out all the assignments to 50 people, so it might be easier for us to, let's say, dumb it down a little bit and get a little more simplified for us. So that's my takeaways. And then David Wagner was out of control, so.
He was arrested that day. A parent went crazy. He was a parent, yeah. He did a really good job.
He was arrested.
Yeah, he was arrested. Yeah.
With the long list of participants who helped us out, is there anything like, should we send thank you notes to them from signing the board, or how would, I think that it's wonderful that they're helping us out to really
Yes.
and acknowledge that. I don't know if that's something that the other board members would be interested in, but just to express our gratitude for the other agencies.
So I think that's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that, but definitely a wonderful idea, because we're growing these partnerships with these other agencies, and I think it's something that's going to continue far beyond me. So we found a Facebook post where Federal Heights said that they participate with Hyland Hills in emergency preparedness trainings yearly. So to me, that says right there that this is going to be something that continues far beyond me, this partnership that we're growing with these other agencies. So I'm very happy about that.
Margaret, I'd be interested in signing thank you notes from the board to these people.
Okay.
If you guys want to get that together, that is something that I'm very grateful that they gave their time and energy to the initiative.
There's been a lot of
Perfect.
agencies that have collaborated with Sherry day in and day out in the last 2 months to get the whole plan. So there's a lot of man hours, people hours spent on this and getting the, you have Jefferson County schools advocates over there, and they're, we had a lot of people, and, even Red Cross was there. So Sherry did a heck of a job, and a lot of those people should be given thank you letters just for their time that they spent to help us come up with the plan, or help Shelley develop the plan and get it where it is, so we can just kind of fine tune it and get it even better.
Yep, I agree. And just for the record, we use the standard reunification method from I Love You Guys Foundation, and we're partnered with them. So we'll use that method in all our facilities. And we do have their signs up in all of our facilities, so just for the record.
And I would say thank you to both of you while you're right here for doing this and creating a sense of peace of mind, that we're at least looking at this and being thoughtful. So thank you both, because it does take a lot of effort.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
More applause for these guys. All right, Deputy Director Beck.
Good evening. I'd like to introduce another J.R. Clanton. He is one of our consultants with Barry Dunn, has been involved in this project for several months. We are nearing the finish line on our strategic plan, so we thought it was important to get in front of the board and share an update on where we're at with progress over the past few weeks. So with that, I will turn it over to J.R.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, hello. Thank you. And I didn't know at first there was another JR in the room, so I was very confused for quite a bit. I almost went up there for the picture, and so, yeah. No, it's really great. I think the timing of this presentation coming in after the recognition that was just given out is really appropriate, because it really speaks to a lot of the strategies that are listed in this strategic plan update that we're going to be giving today, or rather that I'll be giving you. So, as you know, since about last July, we've been working on a strategic plan with you all, and the general purpose of this was to guide your resources for the next 10 years. Your people, your facilities, your assets. And so the main components in the strategic plan are measurable strategies, strategies for improving financially sustainable practices, and ensuring an appropriate and equitable balance of services. And so since we've met, or rather we'll get into it in a second, really the strategic plan focuses on these three main areas: engagement, enterprise and entertainment facility assessments, and financial and funding analysis. And so in the final document, you'll see these core components. As a reminder of the timeline and where we are in this, we're very close to the end. I mean, we're looking to present a final document to you in July. And so some of the recent progress that we've made, we held a vision session with the advisory committee in November, a visioning session with you all in December. We had board updates in February and in April. And then the draft strategic initiatives, which we'll go over today, were finalized with leadership last month. Sorry, this makes a lot of noise. So just a little bit about the process we've been through, because it is really important to talk about the amount of community input that went into this plan. There was a lot of effort put into engaging the community that utilizes Highland Hills Parks and Recreation services and facilities. And this community input really gives a lot of authority to this strategic plan. It's the basis of all of the content. And so when people ask, why is the district making the investments it's making over the course of the next 10 years, it's because this is what we heard from the community. So some of the specific stats to back this up: almost 3,000 visits to the Social Pinpoint, the project website, which served to both inform as well as gather input from the public. 164 comments left on idea boards. 400 statistically valid survey responses, which is a lot. When you're talking a statistically valid survey, which is random sampling, that 400 gets you close to a 95% confidence rating with around 5% margin of error. That's a lot, right? That's a really important telling number. 116,000 mailed publications discussing this process, and then numerous social media impressions and more. We were present throughout your community, and we really made an effort to gather input from both users and non-users. And so again, when we're talking about the validity of the content of this plan, and you're talking about the authority of this plan over the next 10 years, this is what it's based on. Here are some more summary stats, if you really want to go into a lot of the details there. Again, it's just communicating the same thing. We got a lot of community input. So at the end of the day, after all the assessment we did, after all of the communication we did, what is it that the district is going to do over the next 10 years? How do we turn all of that into direction? And so we've identified 3 key strategic initiatives that you'll see action items organized in this strategic plan. The first of these is the concept or the initiative of preserving our district's valued assets. This definition focuses on protecting and taking care of what we own. You have a lot of assets, you have wonderful facilities, wonderful parks, and you need to continue to take care of them, right? You're very fortunate through past planning efforts to have these great facilities, and now we have to continue to work to keep them operating, accessible, safe, in order. So some of the specific action items you'll see associated with this initiative include developing a new capital improvement program and plan, identifying and funding deferred maintenance based upon priorities set forth in the capital plan, integrating the strategic plan's capital and operational recommendations into your ongoing budget processes, developing a transition plan from high maintenance, water demanding landscaping to low maintenance, drought tolerant materials, and then where possible, adding shade elements to facilities, trees, shelters, playground canopies. You'll also see research and consideration of pursuing new funding opportunities to help ensure financial resources are available for critical needs over the next 10 years. Improving, repurposing, and consolidating high-cost, low-use, and low-cost recovery facilities. And then continuing to develop and update the maintenance management plans for all the facilities. Again, taking care of what we have. The second key initiative is aligning services with our district's evolving interest. This speaks to the fact that Highland Hills of today is different from the Highland Hills 10 years ago, and certainly will be different from the Highland Hills 10 years from now in terms of the population that lives here, everything from all the different demographics, not just race and ethnicity, but also income, as well as age, right? And so you have to continue to look at the population, what's here, who makes up that population, and what are the services that population is expecting of you all. And so some of the initiatives, or some of the strategies you'll see in these initiatives include increasing financial accessibility to the district service offerings, providing free or low-cost community-wide events that appeal to different groups, prioritizing health and wellness programming for all ages and abilities, strengthening and expanding partnerships, and a commitment to dynamic, responsive programming aligned with the community's highest profiles. It also includes providing services and facilities to support access to youth sports, increasing physical accessibility throughout parks, amenities, and trails, investments in the safety and security of parks and facilities, improved connectivity to assets throughout the district system, and updating annual programming to align with the strategic plan's findings and recommendations. The final and third initiative is providing world-class experience. And this acknowledges that Highland Hills has multiple regional, high-functioning, major draw, world-class experiences in their enterprise services. Water World, of course, comes to mind as being a huge regional draw, but you also have other major draws in your ice center, your adventure golf, your golf course. And so you have some pretty amazing enterprise assets here that demand a different type of management. They're great. They have high levels of cost recovery. They're operating very well and continue to be high draws. It takes work and investments to keep them at that level, and so that's what this initiative speaks to. So improved focus to some of the action items you'll see here are improved focus to provide high quality, exceptional park and facility offerings, expand and increase reinvestment for the district's enterprise facilities, address the highest prioritized maintenance and enhancement needs, and enhance enterprise facility experiences and amenities to grow interest, access, and cost recovery by targeting new audiences and new opportunities. It also includes developing consistent customer service training and orientation programs across the district, increasing staff retention and succession planning efforts, and expanding marketing and communication efforts, particularly with enterprise and revenue-dependent operations. So what's next? Now that we've identified the strategic priorities of this plan, what's left to complete? Well, we're in the final steps of the financial and funding analysis, and then it's just about putting together your documents, your draft strategic plan and final strategic plan. And then the end of this process will be an action plan and implementation workshop where we work with staff to discuss how the plan can be utilized on an annual basis and continue to be updated. Yeah, of course.
So that action plan and implementation workshop, is that just for the staff or is there board training that goes with that?
I believe this would be with staff. Well, thank you.
Thank you. You guys have made a lot of progress.
Thanks.
JR, thank you very much. Would you like a photo with us?
Yeah. Maybe once we have the final document in its beautiful form, we can all hold it up and take the photo.
Yep. And in Margaret's question, I think there was almost a action step of certainly the board will be involved in after the staff gets their fingers on it, that we'll understand what's going on. So appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was more, how does the board support staff with this plan? It was probably more my question. What does that look like?
Absolutely. And, I think, again, it comes down to the district's annual budget process. We link action planning and implementation workshop very much with your budget and planning process. And so what you'll see in the budget and planning process the initiatives that are laid out in the strategic plan and the links to the strategic plan. And so when you all get that document and provide your input on your annual appropriations, that's where you as a governing board really get a ton of impact on how the strategic plan's being implemented.
And one of the things that I'm used to seeing, that I'm hopeful that this strategic plan will help bring forth, is long-term capital planning, Like, what are our foreseeable capital needs at 5 years and 10 years? And so, right now, that's not something that we have. We look at it annually. I would like something that's a little more planned out at that interval.
Along with the cash that'll be generated from the operations to pay for it.
Yes.
Absolutely. And we're working with staff on developing that.
I just want to know when the tee box on 13 is going to be fixed.
Do you want me to include the exact date in the plan? Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve the meeting minutes of April 2nd.
You jumped ahead.
Did I jump ahead?
Yes, you did.
The treasurer's
Oh, approval of treasurer's report, excuse me.
Yes. So
I did jump ahead.
So I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District approve the March 2024 Treasurer's Report as presented.
second.
So we have a motion and a second. Questions or comments?
Just if you look at the report and you look at the enterprise revenues, we had a good spring, late winter, early spring, as far as the variance to budget, a positive variance on adventure golf courses, and the ice center. So that's putting us a little bit ahead for the year.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed that I had a question about is I was looking at Waterworld. So if you look at last year, Waterworld, and this goes to the pre-sales and the pre-sale activity that we had there. Last year, it was $912,000, and now it's at $1,253,000, which is about a third of an increase. Does that trigger anything like, whoa, we're gonna have a really big year, we're gonna have what goes through your guys' mind when you see a jump like that?
Well, first of all, we're really happy. But it could be a variety of things I think that you hit on. Some of it could be timing. We certainly have a really good marketing program in place, and we've got some good folks pushing that. So it might be some movement there. We've also had pretty decent weather that'll drive past sales. So I think right now it's just a good sign that we have interest and price point is driving, and we'll continue to monitor it. I would say we hit the end of May. That will give us, especially on the season pass side, a good idea of where we're going. But it certainly feels good right now.
Is it mostly season passes or anything like that? I mean, what's making up that number? Do we know?
Yeah, the bulk of that's going to be represented by season pass sales, because we've continued to see we had a strong fall, and those numbers get pushed into this budget cycle as well. But we are seeing good pass purchase growth, and we've had some good response to marketing and promotions. So it just continues to drive. We'll see if it levels out or if it keeps going.
Any other questions or comments?
I can see that the April snow showers impacted the preliminary enterprise revenue. I saw that. From last April. Snow.
So if there's no other further comment or questions, Nicole, would you poll the board, please?
No, just roll call. It's all those in
Roll
favor
call.
say- all those in
Oh,
favor
that's right.
Yeah.
I missed a month. Now I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Mike, for keeping me in line. Now we go to looking for a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 2nd.
I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District approve the minutes of the board meeting of April 2nd, 2024 as written.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions about the meeting minutes of April 2nd? So hearing none, and as I was not at that last meeting, I'm feeling I should abstain from any vote because I can't speak to the fact that this is what you guys did. So I will abstain, but all those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One abstain.
I would tell you that it was a record fast meeting. We raced.
I saw that you were done at 6:20.
Yeah, Don and I made motions and seconded quite frequently during that meeting.
You were trying to break my record.
I think we did. Especially for how much business we had.
All right, we're on now communication and correspondence to the board. We have a couple thank you notes. Please note those. And now we are at Yvonne's project tracker.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we will start with item number 2 on the list, which is the City of Westminster Carol Butts improvement projects. Letting you know that the cross-connection project to move the water from the golf course to the Carol Butts Park has been completed. And then we also are asking the board tonight to approve engineering fees to move forward with phase 1 of the improvements at the park, including adding the pickleball, expanding the parking near that area, and the associated infrastructure for both of those. So that is an agenda item for this evening. Item 5 is the master plan committee. So letting you know that the final field at the sports complex will be ready for play this weekend. We have a little bit more drainage work over there, as well as some practice area turf that will still go down. Work is moving along at the shelters for the Clear Creek Valley Park. They are moving dirt down there, and we hope to have permits for the shelter structures themselves pretty soon. And work continues on the number 1 blue-green on the golf course. So just also wanted to let you know that instead of doing a grand opening or ribbon cutting down at Sherwood Park, we have invited the community to come for a play party down there on May 23rd. So that'll be from 4 to 6 p.m. If you could all let us know, we'll send out a reminder, but if you can all let us know if you plan to attend, and then we'll make sure that we get the proper postings done for that event. Moving to item 7, which is the restaurant lease. Letting the board know that we're continuing to work through pending matters with the previous golf course lease. Item 9 is the Hyland Hills rebranding projects. Just letting you know that work continues on that as well with new signage throughout the district. We are working on changing out the signage at the fitness center for that new logo work. And then we'll be picking up again with the parks monument signs throughout the district as well as the weather warms up. Item number 10, obviously you just got an update on the strategic plan. We're getting very close to completion of that. It looks like that hopefully will be to the board for adoption at maybe the July meeting. And then just a quick note off of the tracking report is, did want to let the board know, if you haven't seen it already, that Waterworld, congratulations to the team at Waterworld, because we were named in the top 10 by both USA Today Reader Poll and Newsweek Reader Poll. So that's a really big deal for us. So that is a nationwide, both of them are nationwide polls, and we're very, very proud of that accomplishment.
It could be.
Well, that'll be the next time when sales are up. Yvonne, I have one question about Carol Butts again. So I think we had the city of Westminster, and we were meeting with the city of Westminster for the IGA and settling on, is the city of Westminster going to provide funding for that park and where we're at? Where do we stand on, has the city of Westminster committed anything or expressed any commitment or anything like that?
We are continuing to work with them on the ultimate IGA, but as a reminder, what we've identified as these first improvements will go against that money that we owe the city. So we are committed to pay for the 100% of that first 1.2 million roughly, and these improvements will hopefully be right at that amount. So we don't have a further commitment at this time from the city for Carol Butts improvements.
So then, after we vote on what we're voting on tonight, that gets us close to 1.2 million, is that right?
It does.
So then, any other future fundings have to be matched dollar for dollar by the city of Westminster. But I don't know if they've appropriated for it. Do we know? Who knows if they've appropriated? How do we find that out?
So we don't, first of all, we don't have a schedule. So while we work through the IGA, and if you remember, while we are doing our strategic plan, they are also doing their visioning plan, and they're actually lagging us on the schedule. So we're kind of going through the items that we have, the partnership items, including the MAC, including Carol Butts Park, but also waiting to understand what the results of both of those plans lay out for both of the parties. So I think we're a ways away from the next phases of improvements at Carol Butts Park, pending where we decide ultimately we want to land with partnerships and what's best for the community.
Okay, but we've made our we've ponied up our 1.2 million that we had said we would.
Yes, we are meeting our obligation there, yes.
Excellent, thank you.
Other questions? Yvonne, the next item says quarterly reports, question and answer.
I have them.
Yes, Mr. President. So at the last meeting, because we were time constrained and missing a couple board members, we basically tabled any questions on the quarterly reports. So happy to entertain those questions this evening.
That's why you went so fast.
Yeah, we didn't go through the quarterly reports because not everybody was here. So we used to. But I think we have some questions, right?
Can we defer this to the next meeting? Maybe have express that reports in front of us?
Yeah, we're happy to do either. We're happy to answer tonight. We're happy to answer via email if you have them as well, or we can talk again at the next meeting.
Yeah, since I missed the last meeting, I'm not sure what questions I should ask, so maybe we can add this on and send those back out?
Yeah.
Does that work for the board? So I'm hearing that the board would like you to do that, Yvonne, to send that back out and put it on the June agenda item?
We'll be happy to do that.
Thank you. And then, are you ready for the Waterworld Front Gate Project update?
I am ready to introduce Mr. Owens again, and he is going to come down and provide that update.
All right, good evening again. So I've got some conceptual plans to show you this evening and talk a little bit about the Front Gate project. As you recall, we promised to revisit this with you as we moved along, and you recently approved us moving out of the conceptual staging into the construction drawing stage and starting to really finalize this concept. And hey, there we go. All right, so we're going to talk about that tonight. I thought I would take a moment and revisit as well some of our top high-level goals, I guess, of this project. The front gate as it is today, it seems like it wasn't that long ago we put it in. It was back in 1992. So it has some miles on it, and it is showing its age, both from a cosmetic and infrastructure standpoint. There's a lot of issues up there, and really at the highest level, this design no longer is efficient or works well for the way we ticket today. This was designed for an era largely before computer ticketing and online ticketing and things of that nature. And it is a huge guest friction point for us. You frequently see lines that come all the way down this pedestrian walkway in the morning. It is not a good look. It's not something our guests enjoy, and they tell us that loud and clear through surveying and through post-visit feedback that the arrival process is not necessarily enjoyable. So this has really been a big focus for us, and we feel that this is really one of the most impactful projects that we can do and get out to our guests and start really pivoting that guest experience. This project is, and you'll hear me talk about this, it does somewhat interface with what we've been talking to you about in the Calypso Cove area. But more importantly, this project also is interfacing with some technology improvements for processes, and also the biggest thing that we see happening here is that our guests would be admitted to the park earlier, quicker, and really getting them into the park and getting them to a place where they can kind of hold and get their locker, change, maybe buy, breakfast, maybe dip their toes in one of the upper pools. But we're really looking to reimagine this operationally as well. So that process to really, we hope to eliminate any lines that exist on this pedestrian walkway. Yes?
One of the things that I questioned, one of the stats that you brought out that I never knew about was you called it wheels to water.
Mm-hmm.
So our current wheels to water time rate is what is it now, and what are we trying to
It's a great question. Depends on the day, depends on the situation, what the park attendance load and, what it's looking at. I feel very comfortable saying that currently, if you're here right at the rush and right at the beginning of the day, you probably have an experience that could be in the 30 to 45-minute range. It just depends. If you come a little bit later, you might walk right in, right? But, we want to take care of our guests at the peak. Everybody wants to get here when we open, and we get that. That's when you should want to get here. So I think that is, we're tracking in that space. What we hope to really do with this is that we're in a 15 to 20-minute window of time, maybe less. Because again, in addition to the benefits afforded through the design of this and the efficiencies there, we're also making operational changes to let you into the upper area of the park and kind of contain you there. So you feel like you're always in motion. Now, if you show up at 7 a.m. and you want to camp outside the gate, you're going to have a much longer wheels to water. We can't really control that. But if you're showing up, at 9 o'clock, we're really planning this to be a constant flow and get you into the park and into the fun quicker. I mean, that's what our guests want, and that's what we want to give them, is that experience. So I'll walk you through the plan. So this is version 3 now, and I think our team has really come together with some good things here. And I'll give you some high-level just aspects of this. If you look where the cursor is right here, we're looking to really blend the transition from the parking lot into the entry plaza with a raised walkway. If you've ever been on any of those right turn lanes and you go over, there's a lot of them in Boulder, where they kind of have the bump for the pedestrian. We're looking to do this here to ease ADA access from a larger area of the parking lot and up into our arrival zone, and really separating vehicle and pedestrians, really making that transition obvious there and slowing down traffic around that corner. We currently have 6 exterior gates that feed our front entry, and one of them are ramped and the other 5 are all staired. So as you look through here, you're going to see that if you follow our main pathway in, there are no stairs. We have 2 stair walks. One is an emergency egress, and the other is a group sales connection. Aside from that, you're going to follow this flow around here, or you're going to come up the pedestrian way and you're going to join in this area. And you're going to be naturally flowing up to our security structure, which is right here. As you all know, the security footprint has changed between the X-ray machines and the Evolve technology. Right now, we're doing that in tents, and we're doing that in very temporary infrastructure, and it's not our favorite look, and we make it as efficient as we can, but we could do better. So this structure really reflects that. So all of our guests will flow up this way and through security. Once you get through security, you can keep walking if you have your ticket up this way towards the front, or you can take a right turn here to our ticket services booth. And this is another example of really designing for the modern age. We have separate ticket booths right now. They're hard to manage. When we separate our team members from a manager or somebody who can support them physically in different buildings, it's hard to manage that. So this will put our lead in the same space as our team members. It will allow us to ramp up and down dynamically. And this will be our guest service and what we call ticketing service area. If you need to buy a ticket or if you need to exchange a ticket, maybe you have a question about visiting with a disability, we'll help you in these areas. As you flow through, you're going to come around. We've got a nice ADA grade, no handrails here, so we were able to maintain a low enough grade the entire way. We don't have to do the handrails along the block walls, which is also another, it's a safety issue and it's a maintenance headache. So you'll pass up this way. As you come by, which is guest services today, which is this building here, this would become our security office. So the lower level would transition into that, and the upper space would remain offices like it is today. In this corner over here is our Instagram moment. We have a nice spot. This will be very flower-centric. It'll be that kind of eye catch. We'll have a Waterworld signed wall with a waterfall behind it, something that brings the water theme into the front, but it'll be a sheet flow, so we're talking very low water, easy maintenance. But this is really a spot where people can pull over, take their pictures, and kind of have that moment, and it's that sense of arrival. And then as we move up the sidewalk, the next structure you're going to see here is our turnstile structure. So this is going to be our access where we check your tickets. And again, this has really been revamped for a modern age to allow us flexibility to handle this in multiple different ways. As a reference point, our turnstiles are currently down here. So if you see where my cursor is at the moment, so this has moved up. The stairs that come up from the turnstiles to the upper level are gone. Really our goal in this whole thing is our main pathway should have no stairs. No hard decisions to try to decide where you go. If you go in our front gate right now, it feels like you could go 100 different ways. And if you're a first-time visitor, it's hard to navigate that. And it's difficult for us to do wayfinding as it is today. Group sales remain, so you'll see group sales down here, and group sales will have its own entry once you pass security, staging area, and then entry up to the park, which is a big wish list item for the group sales team and really to enhance that experience as well. There'll be a full signage package down here. There'll be a welcome to Waterworld. We'll have excellent wayfinding, and then we're also looking at bilingual signage for this area, and that will be our first, our first push into that. And we feel like Arrival is a great place to do that, so we can have all of our guests find what they're looking for. Yeah, so right here, are you talking about the sidewalk right here? Yeah, so this is for group sales, so once you ticket, you get a bypass to come up to a dedicated turnstile here. If you are in group sales and you're in a mobility device or can't do stairs, then you'll just simply go back this way and around the ramp to go up. This other stair that you see right here, this is emergency egress only. And it does have stairs, but that would be in an emergency type of an exit. It is. Yeah, we're giving our groups a staging area, which is huge, and we're giving them kind of that VIP experience as well, and that includes our birthday parties that would utilize that gate. So this is the flow. We're really following the lay of the land. We've done a lot of reiterations of this and really looked at how we can make this meaningful, really up the game, but also not reinvent the entire space. There's a lot of elevation change that happens here. It's kind of an interesting site to build on. So we're going to leverage all that and, just kind of reimagine the basic grades that we have today. The other thing that you may have noticed, if you look where these turnstile structures are, and if you've been in the park, you may be thinking, hey, this looks awfully close to Wally World. So this is the next thing that we wanted to talk to you about, and if you were thinking that, you are correct. This sidewalk widens out to give us a nice broad entry, and there'll be some development that'll happen down here. As you recall from our Calypso Cove conversations, the Wally World is part of that reimagination process. To do this front gate project, and to do all the pieces that we need to do here, it would require the removal of Wally World ahead of many potential projects that we do in the Calypso Cove area. If you recall, Wally World's challenges for us is there is no ADA access. It is staired. We have some concrete movement at rock wall, things that we need to address. The foam padding is an issue in that area. It's another, when it opened, it was the most innovative kids area in probably the world at that time in a water park. It was really something. It was built in a time where ADA and family inclusiveness and mobility, was not a consideration, and it is a tired area for us. So we envision that anything that is in Wally World, we're obviously addressing when we look at the other project and blending that in. As we look at these two projects to potentially vet separately, either in concurrent years or they have some sort of a gap, this Wally World conversation is really important because it's to do this the right way, the demolition of Wally World would need to fall under the front gate project. So it would get rolled into this, and we would need that land, or part of that land, for this project. And at least for a year, we would operate without Wally World as it is today, and we would have some sort of a construction type area there. And certainly you have our word that we'll make it look as nice as we can. But it's also a moment to advertise to our guests that we're doing other things. So I think that that's a really big, item to consider. We have looked at, can we phase the front in a way that we keep Wally World and try to do other things? It's very difficult, and I think we're going to end up getting in a position where it gets, it starts to get pretty expensive to try to tier those two separately.
So I recall that we have got, since I've been on the board, we've got a couple of letters, comments from guests who said we need more places for younger kids. And so we're going to get rid of it temporarily, I understand, but that's like our only one. Would we be able to, when we're doing this, say, this is the future side of Wally World 2, whatever that is, so that when that does go away, because there is that demographic that has said, I'm a young mom and I want a place for small kids, and now you've just taken it away. But if we could say, we have, but it's only temporary, this is what we're putting.
Yeah, it's...
Would we be able to do that? Well, I understand that we have to take it, but I just want something there for the constituency that says that it's only temporary. It's coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and it's something that we need to consider. We do have other tot offerings, so Turtle Bay, which is just on the other side on my map here. We would envision we take the tables out of Wally World and some other pieces and move them over there because it'd be a great place to put them anyway. We do have, they can play in the Calypso Cove area. We certainly have some things at Alpine Springs, but I think it could absolutely be a message. I think that depends on the direction that comes from the board in terms of how quickly and what those other projects look like. I think I can speak on behalf of the entire staff and Yvonne when we look at this Calypso Cove project, that these Wally World, what appeals to our Wally World users today, those elements will be present in the redesigned area and on steroids. Much, much better and a much modern, more inclusive and easily accessible and line of sight types experiences. So I think, our guests will really appreciate that when they get to see that. But there could be a little, and Wally World's a legacy attraction. So we might have some feedback. So I think if we're at a point where we can promote that would be a great thing to do. I think it really kind of depends on how these projects vet downstream. Our timing on this, we would love to move ahead, as we mentioned previously, for the 25 season to have this ready to go. We hope to be out in the market for bids and for getting that process back by mid-June, and we would hope to be back in front of you in July, saying, hey, we've put this out in the market. We have a contractor. This is what we would like to do. So this is a tight schedule for getting this done, but so far everybody we're speaking with feels that it's a doable schedule. The question is, when does the next project, what does that time frame look like? We've spoken to you about 26 being kind of that window. Either we start in 26 or we start at the end of 25 into 26. So, I think that there's still some questions there, but we'd like to get this going and start making some impacts for our guests, out the gate with this project, and the two can blend nicely together.
Makes sense. It looks like the way that you get into Animal Kingdom or Disney World or Magic Kingdom or California Adventure, all of it fits that flow.
Yeah, we think this is a winner, and we've spent a lot of time on this, and we've fleshed out. I mentioned to Yvonne today, we're running out of things to talk about in these meetings, which means that it's a pretty good sign that we're really starting to get the design locked in where we want it.
So if you start this at the end of the season,
Mm-hmm.
you're really looking to have it done by the beginning of 25. So that space where Water World is, maybe if the board approves that moves forward, is that more of 2027 completion?
For the front gate or for the Calypso Cove?
Not front gate, but, you're gonna have that area that kids
Mm-hmm.
are gonna see when they walk in.
Right.
I thought I heard you say for a year.
Well, I think it depends on the guidance, right, that we get. We are still locking in the conceptuals. I think the last time we talked about this, where we felt this could play was the front gate going online in 25. And the other project, we had a couple of options. We could start in the fall of 25 and into 26, or we could build during the 26 season. So I think that depends on the scope of that project. And I think it's a good point, Don, is that we do need to all understand that it could be a season or it could be 2 seasons, depending on how the second project vets, that we have some empty space in that upper area. And I think we can get creative and try to do some things and spruce it up the best we can, but certainly there would not be an attraction there until the other project goes. So these two projects do intertwine in terms of, we will have that space.
So, if we move forward with we're moving forward with the front gate project. Construction on the main gate project would commence at the end of this season.
Correct.
So fall 2024.
Uh-huh.
With the hopes that it's done by May of 2025, right?
Correct.
And so then, what that means is that when it opens in May of 2025, Wally World is not going to be there for 2025, for that
Correct.
entire season. And then, if all the stars align and planets align, we start on the next project at the end of 2025. So then it may or may not be ready to go by 2026. So it'll be out of commission in 2025 and maybe in by 2026. So it could be 12 to 24 months that we don't have Wally World.
Yeah, yeah, I think the 24 season, it would not be there. The 25 season, there's still some questions and some conversations we need to have, right, about, how this other project is coming together, what that time frame looks like. I think we have a couple of options to construct, that and look at it, but, 24 for sure, or 25 for sure. Excuse me, let me back up. 24 for sure. We would start the process. The Wally World would be gone for the 25 season. The question is the replacement there in 26 or not? And that's, yes. Yeah, we've invested, to your point, Mark, we've had complaints. We've been very aggressive in maintaining that. We spent, I think about $30,000 on the slide padding and surfaces this year. So, we're committed this year to providing, a great experience in that area. And it won't look like we're potentially taking it out this year, but, we should absolutely expect at least one season and potentially prepare ourselves for two, should this other plan go. On the other side of that, when we looked at phasing the front gate, the sacrifices we have to make there are very difficult if we have to push that out 2 years. Probably more of a sacrifice and more impactful to every guest that walks in than to the users of Wally World.
I do know that second phase of that whole area can be isolated and you can work, you can do it all.
Mm-hmm.
If the board so would choose, right? You could isolate the whole area, start to work while the park is open.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't open Memorial Day of 26. Yeah.
It's a great spot. This area down here does lend itself. It's because it's sitting right on the corner, right? So we do have other options, and I think we're not at that stage yet on that project, but, those are all the things that we're floating around for ideas. And we understand it's difficult. I don't think any of us are, jumping up and down about saying, hey, we want to take Wally World out. But when we look at this really from the big picture and we look at what we want to accomplish here, it's kind of the logical first step. And we think that we can, by moving tables to Turtle Bay and getting ahead of messaging and doing things like that, I think we can make that right with our guests.
How would the other entrance into the other part of that, we had forgotten, is it a micro park? What is it called?
The mini park? Yep.
How would that entrance be similar to this entrance, right? Because that would be a separate entrance at times, right?
Yeah, so we're exploring a few things there, is that we keep a separate entrance, or because of how this entrance has vetted now, we're potentially looking, can we use part of this and feed in there, because it feeds right into that area. So we're exploring both options to look at that, but yeah, you're not seeing the, we're down, we're way down here at the bottom with my cursor is somewhere where that, potentially if that area has that entrance, it would be, it could be anywhere down along there. But our design firm is also exploring, like I said, there may be some options to tie them together in the front. So we'll look at that.
So Bob, we need to, as a board, kind of approve the general ideas and then also the financing for those. So that'll be part of the budgeting process, and you'll continue to bring things for us that in a timely manner that we'll need to approve so we can keep this work moving and without delay.
Yeah, if we're going to stay on this current time frame, we fully appreciate the fact that, we kind of have to keep things moving. Like I said, our next check-in with you, we would anticipate to be in July. Certainly happy to answer any questions or give updates in June if you like. I think the guidance really that the conversation we wanted to have tonight is if we can let our design team know if removing Wally World is something that we can do, because that really is a big decision right now that will kind of take that project in a couple different paths.
How much would it cost, more would it cost if you didn't remove it? Like how expensive is it to keep?
It's a good question, and I don't have specific costs. The bigger issue is that we're either going to have to put up tents and not build the turnstile structure, or we're going to have to remove part of Wally World, like the upper level, and try to route guests in a different way. I mean, we've gone down some pretty big rabbit holes of exploring, different options in that area. I don't have the cost. It's something we can ask the design team. It does impact some of the retaining walls and other pieces, and I think that's where we're going to start to see the costs add up. Yeah, 1987.
I might interject that it's not a matter of saving Wally World. Wally World really is at end of life, and so it's a question of, because we're doing this work, this is the appropriate time to make this call to go ahead and close Wally World permanently. The assurance from staff is that we will bring back meaningful replacements for Wally World in the next project, but trying to save Wally World is really not the right move that we could recommend to the board.
So what we're really being asked is to be aware that when we approve the gate, we're closing down Wally World in 2025 forever. And then it'll be replaced in 2026 or 2027.
That's correct.
Yeah, and we are absolutely committed to recreating these types of experiences in the new area, just in a better way, in the end of the day. So, yeah, the area has slowed down in attendance up there. I mean, it's not as utilized as it used to be. So, I think for our guests, it'll be an okay transition.
So I think people are kind of used to airports being constantly redeveloped, hospitals being redeveloped. This is another opportunity for us to look at our strategic plan and say, this is a tired area, and our commitment is to upgrade and keep it moving forward.
Yep.
I think our guests would appreciate that, rather than trying to hold on to Wally World for one more season. No, let's get this done.
Yeah, I agree.
Get me in the park in 30 minutes instead of 45.
Or 20, or 15.
20 or 15.
15 is the
15 is the goal.
We're
Right.
going to get you in awfully fast. That's our goal.
And so it all goes back to communication. Yeah, we don't like that we're losing Wally World for a year, maybe two. However, this is the benefits. This is what you're going to do. This is what we're going to get better. And but we need to start working on this, and that's what you want us from the board to help you with.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure you understood what this looks like, and certainly keep you informed that we come back to you hopefully in July and say, hey, we'd like to move forward with this project, that this is a part of that.
And Water World is our flagship asset. And I think that, in my mind, I want to keep all the people who are buying the season passes coming back and buying more season passes. So,
Front gate is going to make them very happy. I feel absolutely confident that guests are going to feel much better about us when this is in place.
And I think we follow the strategic plan. I mean, we need to do the same thing with adventure golf, and we need to do the same thing with the golf courses, and we need to continue to use Water World to our advantage. And so the next steps then, Bob, would be for you to come back in July with some money figures for us to approve?
Correct.
Awesome. Any other questions? Okay, Bob, thank you.
Yep, thank you very much.
Would you like a picture with the board?
Always.
All right, Allison, attorney's report.
There's a legal report in your board packet. It talks about what we've been up to for the last month. Happy to answer any questions that the board has.
I did have a question, and it's regarding a reimbursement agreement between the district and the Uplands. Could you provide some specifics on that? Is that something that can be
Yep.
shared?
Skylar, feel free to jump in. No, Alan, right? Sorry. The developer is being required by the city of Westminster to make some public improvements that will be partially on district property. And so the district is getting sucked into this, and the proposal is to have the developer reimburse the district for its costs in working with the developer on making these improvements. So we don't want the district to be out of pocket and cooperating with the developer.
So this is the section of the Uplands development that's on the east side of Federal, and it actually, it is adjacent to the edge of Cavendish Park. So it would be the western edge of Cavendish Park would meet their eastern end of their development. It's multifamily housing. I believe it's apartments or townhomes that they're building over there, and so that's why they're going to be looking at needing some space to do some improvements for their requirements. Our park is the likely place to do it, and what we're trying to make sure is that if we have to do anything, whether it's engineering or helping with construction or whatever that looks like, that they will pay those costs and the district's not out of pocket for that. And certainly we'll try to leverage that as we have with other developers in the past. I think it's about 88th and maybe Clay-ish. Yeah, so there's development going on both sides of Federal, east and west. What we're talking about here is what's on the east side of Federal, which is a smaller parcel where they're going to build multifamily dwelling. So if you kind of know where that, I think there's like a lodge, a club lodge or something, Eagles Lodge. Yeah, it'd be behind there.
Okay, so it's right behind, okay, I see. What I couldn't reconcile is the Uplands development that sits by the Pillar of Fire, all of that, and then where is anything near ours? Okay, that makes sense.
Other questions for Allison? Thank you, Allison. We're now at old business, and Margaret, we added an update from the Finance Committee.
Yes, I wanted to let the full board know, so at the last board meeting, Mike had asked that we get an insurance review of all of our insurance coverage across the assets, across the district. And I just wanted to let you know that we learned a ton, and based on the questions that Mike asked and the review that was performed, that we have very good insurance coverage. We made some improvements and suggested some improvements that provide even more insurance protection that is in line with the risk that the district has. And it was a very, very fruitful discussion that I don't know that has happened before. So I wanted to thank Mike for bringing that up. It was a very good discussion.
Good job, Mike.
Well, again, it's to protect the district.
Absolutely.
And so, just an example here, our total liability under this policy was $2 million. Well, with the Costco contract, Costco actually required us to have more coverage, so we bumped that up to
$8 million for full 10.
a total of 3 or a total of 5?
Total of 5.
Total of 5. And then for an extra $10,000, we got another $5 million worth of coverage. We now have a total of $10 million worth of coverage versus 2. We're also looking at evaluating our IT environments for cyber security. And so we'll be looking at that because the coverage only comes, the basic coverage is $200,000. That's not enough if there's a major cyber attack impacting our enterprise operations. So the staff's going to do an evaluation. We're going to get a quote for more cyber insurance. So there's just a couple examples. As we went through the various policies, where should we look at increasing coverage? Where did we increase coverage? And where I really got comfortable was on the property side. If a tornado comes through and takes out Waterworld, are we protected for being rebuilt like it was? Is our P&L protected from the lost revenue for season lots being rebuilt? And the answers were yes, and so, yeah.
And are we using the SDA insurance group?
Yeah, we're fully insured by the Special District Insurance Pool for property liability as well as workers' compensation. The other piece that I think was very informative for the group, and we had invited some other staff members as well, was the understanding of the Colorado Governmental Immunity Act and how that plays into our insurance coverage.
Yeah, and so because municipalities, and it's not just with municipalities in Colorado, but across the nation, they're limited by statute. Their liability is limited by statute. And
But it's
so
subject to challenge by attorneys.
Sure.
only federal law. So, and it hasn't happened very much. I got very comfortable with the coverage that was there in the immunities that are provided to us. And so it was strong. We went through that. So that was well done as well.
So thanks to the Finance Committee for their good work.
That was good.
Anything else on old business? So moving now to new business. I think we need a motion for the website and software accessibility policy.
I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District adopt, as written, the website and software accessibility policy.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Actually, when it comes to new policy, who do we plagiarize from or borrow? Because you don't want to do this stuff from scratch.
It depends, it depends. This one's plagiarized heavily from actually the regulations, but this was an original work. But yeah, just depends.
Okay, so we have a good reference for granting.
Well, and it seems to follow the policy that we had that if it is following to statute, that we're referring to the statute so that if the statute changes, the policy doesn't necessarily need to be updated. It just flows from that. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good change. So any further discussion? All those in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Carol Butts Park construction documents, bidding and construction services.
I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District approve staff recommendation to retain MIG Inc. in the amount of $184,828 for Carol Butts Park Phase 1 construction documents, bidding and construction services, and authorize the executive director to execute the contract on behalf of the district.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion?
This is our final payment that we do on our own without the city of Westminster ponying up for anything else. Okay.
And we get a bunch of pickleball courts, some parking lot, we get some stuff going, so that's kind of nice. Any other questions or comments?
When is this scheduled to happen?
Alan, do you have,
Yeah, you bet. So, once we get these documents, we can put this out to bid, and then we can start putting together a construction timeline. It really needs to be done in 2020, end of year 2025 to meet our obligation with the city. So I would expect either fall construction or spring construction, based on, how the bidding process goes.
yeah, our hope would be that we would have pickleball courts sometime in the season in 2025 would be our hope, for sure. But yeah, it does depend on, there are a limited amount of contractors that build pickleball courts, so some of them will be based on their availability as well.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Board of Directors, open discussion.
Skylar, statement of cash flows for 2023, how's that coming along?
I mean, that's part of our prep work for the audit and the ACFR, and I believe we're in the final stages of that. We've got the auditors coming to our next board meeting in June, So that's about the only update I have right now.
Okay, again, draft would be appreciated as soon as it's available. Again, you know my two areas, insurance and statement of cash flow.
Cash.
And cash.
So the board is asking Skylar to come up with those cash flow drafts?
Well, we'll have them was asked at the finance committee. It's part of the audit. They're coming.
They're coming. Okay, awesome. Anything else on open discussion? Have the abs started yet?
2 minutes to peck drop.
Okay, we're at the board meeting action recap.
I only have one item, and that's thank you notes. What did I miss? Thank you notes for the other agencies who helped participate in the exercise.
We also asked Yvonne to bring back the quarterly Q&A, the quarterly reports for Q&A. We asked for that as well.
In the next packet.
Right, in the next packet.
And then I have a question for that. Is that gonna be brand new material or, because we have the ones that we had from last time that we didn't go over because of no one was here. So, should we look at those ones or are there gonna be those new ones and those, and
We'll resend what you guys already received in the packet for last
Okay.
board meeting. So you'll have quarterly reports from Q1 at the June meeting, and then we should have Q2 by the July meeting. So you'll basically have two months of quarterly reports.
Got it. So we'll have the quarterly reports that we already had, that we'll ask questions next meeting and resend them. Got it. Okay.
Correct.
Then I understand what's happening.
All right. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody. No worse for
job.
wear and tear.
Exactly.